Now let's talk about how to get a job in the US. Since you're new to the US, you are new to the US job search process. And it's a lot more complicated than submitting resumes online and waiting for an employer to contact you. In fact, there are multiple steps that you need to take in order to get hired in the US. And I want to break these down for you to set your expectations. Because a lot of students come to the US with an idea of how to get a job based on what's done in their country. And as you know, hiring processes are different according to different countries. In the US, it's not enough to simply have a degree. You need to have skills, you need to have a good communication strategy, that is, you have to be persuasive, and you need to have experience in order to get hired by a US employer. So, in order to get hired, you have to present a full package to employers. That means you need to be able to show how you are the best candidate for any given job. And in order to do that, you have to promote yourself. If you come from a culture where self-promotion is considered taboo or something that you really shouldn't do, this might be a challenge for you. It might be something that you have to work at in order to get comfortable with the idea of promoting yourself. You will quickly find that in American culture, a lot of Americans tend to talk about themselves a lot. It's part of our culture to promote ourselves, and that's what's expected of us in a job search. So we will talk about things that we're good at. We'll talk about the leadership experiences we've had. We'll talk about what our story is. That is what we tell employers about ourselves in order for them to get to know us better, and so on. The U.S. job search experience is a persuasive act. You are persuading an employer to hire you. You are persuading them that you are the best person for the job. And it takes a lot of practice to get those persuasion skills. On top of that, you need to be able to show employers that you have experience. So as you are in school and you're learning new topics, you need to find ways to apply those skills so employers can see that you understand the context of that skill. That is, you can apply these skills in a work environment. And you do that by taking internships, by working on volunteer projects, by finding real-world projects that you can use your skills on. These are things that go on your resume so you can show employers you can work in a team, you can work in an organization, and so on. Having experience is critical in the U.S. Employers don't just want a degree. They want people with experience and a way to show skills in order to get hired. So, the U.S. job search is equal parts patience, time, persistence, creativity, and a bit of luck. Because after all, you're trying to find companies that hire international candidates. And sometimes they're a little bit hard to find, and sometimes you have to get a little bit creative. On top of that, you have to be persistent. You are going to get rejected in the U.S. job search. That's normal. In fact, you can spend, months getting rejected until you get an interview, and it's not going to feel great. But just know that is a normal part of the process. On average, every job opening gets over 200 applications and resumes. It's really difficult to get noticed in that pile. And so rejections are pretty common. So I say that not to dissuade you or make you, feel bad. I want to set the expectation that the U.S. job search is a competitive process. You have to learn how to do it, and you have to practice getting better at the U.S. job search in order to get hired. You can expect to spend between 3 to 9 months looking for a job in the U.S. That's how competitive the process is. And the amount of time spent looking for a job is really going to depend on the type of job that you're looking for, your experience level, that is what experience you have in the past, and your communication skills. That is, how good are you at being able to tell employers your stories, reach out and talk to people, make connections and build relationships with American professionals who are already working. Those are the things that are going to help you in your job search. Now, some steps that you can think about that you're going to be doing in your job search. One, researching companies that sponsor. That's obviously one of the biggest steps in the U.S. job search. But other things that you're going to be doing are researching the roles. If you are, a career changer and you're headed into, say a different industry or taking on a different role, you really have to get to understand what those roles are. So for example, If you want to be a product manager, you need to understand what a product manager actually does. You also have to understand product managers in the context of an organization, because what a product manager does in one organization might be different from what they do in another organization. And during your time in the job search, you need to study that role like you're studying for an exam. You have to do things like create a professional story, which is tell employers about your background and what you're hoping to, what you're learning in school and what you'd like to do after school. And your career services department is actually going to teach you how to create those professional stories. Then you've got to build resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn profiles. You've got to find ways to get experience. And then you need to do what's called an informational interview. You're going to be doing a lot of these. These are simply conversations with professionals who are already in the companies where you want to work. Informational interviews is a topic I'm going to go into in depth, both in another interview and in the workshop. But for now, I want you to think about it as talking to American professionals about their business experiences. That is a large part of your international student job search here in the U.S. So you can expect to spend a lot of time doing that. And for some of you, the idea of reaching out to a stranger without an introduction and talking to them might fill you with nerves. But I assure you, with practice, you can get better with that. But it does take time, which is why the U.S. job search takes so long. Other things you should be prepared to do in your U.S. job search: mock interview. So that's having fake interviews to introduce you to behavioral interviews. You do them oftentimes with your career services office or sometimes alumni. And then you can expect to learn about behavioral interviews. That is the interview style that we use in the U.S. In order for employers to evaluate if you are a fit for the job that they are hiring for. Now, if some of this is a little bit confusing and you're just not sure, that's okay. Again, you're at the beginning of this process, and my goal is to really introduce you to the different stages in the job search and really set the expectation of all the different things you're going to learn to do in a U.S. job search, and get you to reflect on how it might be different from what you are used to in your home country or what you might expect going into the U.S. job search. The U.S. job search does take a long time. It takes a lot of learning new skills and trying new things. And one of the things I love about working with international students is you've already decided to make the commitment to come to a new country and learn our culture and learn new things. And so you're already in a space where you can try new things. Your job search is part of that experience. Just like you're learning about, academic life and American culture, you're going to be learning how to get a job and interact with American professionals in the U.S. job search. So I want you to think about your job search in that context. This is a learning experience. You're at the beginning right now, and the information that I've given you today is really kind of a map to help you think about what you will be doing in the job search going forward. And that's the International Student Job Search Framework.